Hey Villa fans, welcome along to a match preview for the Aston Villa v Bologna game on Thursday, kicking off our Champions League, more like Europa League campaign. Wishful thinking there. Europa League campaign against Bologna, a team that we faced in the Champions League last season. So I wanted to sort of jump on, have a quick look at Bologna, what they've been doing this season, a little bit about their sort of danger players, their business in terms of transfer business, and obviously what Villa need to do and how we need to we keep saying this, kickstart the season, hit the reset button, blah 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 blah. But it all starts by picking the best team and putting out the players that we all know that we want to see. The likes of Harvey Elliott starting, maybe Sancho starting this game, maybe going with the front three of Sancho, Rodgers, and then Elliott as well. And Rodgers, on his kind of last chance saloon in terms of, what he's kind of, he's not picking himself, is he, at the moment? He's very much in there because I don't want to see Buendia in there. Aston has not really impressed. Marlon hasn't really impressed. So, he has the potential to be a very, very good player, as we all know, but he hasn't shown it this season. But this might be a change of competition, a change of style of opponent. The opponent's maybe not being as aware of Morgan Rodgers, for example, because Rodgers pointed out in a recent interview that obviously teams are kind of, that he's not this unknown quantity anymore. Teams have kind of not figured him out, but kind of know about him. But Bologna obviously don't see him week in, week out in their domestic league. So it could be an opportunity for Morgan Rodgers to have a standout game. And by God, he needs it. We need it. Not just Morgan Rodgers, not singling him out at all, but everyone across the whole team, all 11 players. Ollie Watkins needs to have a big performance as well on Thursday night under the lights at Villa Park. At the moment, tickets are still available, general sale, which is surprising because I thought first game in Europe it would be a sellout, but it's not. It's going to be an interesting watch. Bologna have brought some interesting players in. So let's have a look at Bologna first of all. I've got some notes here as well. So opening 4 games of the Serie A season, they have won 2 and lost 2, currently sitting in 11th position. They opened, most recently, they just beat Genoa 2-1, who's managed by Patrick Vieira. So they beat them 2-1 at the weekend. Santiago Castro and another one of their danger players, Orsolini, getting on the score sheet from the penalty spot. Before that, they lost 1-0 to AC Milan. Then they beat Como, Cesc Fabregas's Como, so Fabregas and Vieira there, beating them 1-0. Orsolini again getting on the score sheet. He's their danger player. And then they opened the season with a 1-0 defeat at Roma. So 2 wins, 2 losses, 11th position at the moment. Last season, they finished in 9th position in Serie A. I think the reason they got into the Europa League is that they won the Italian Cup, surprisingly beating AC Milan in the final 1-0, where Dan Ndoye, who's currently playing at Nottingham Forest, scored the winner there. So that was their kind of route into this competition. Sitting in 9th position in Serie A, I don't think would have been enough to qualify them for Europe otherwise. But Bologna are a side who buy players on the cheap and then sell them on for huge profits very quickly. So the quick sort of flip and turnover of players for them, if you look at the record, I mean, this season, their transfers in have included Jonathan Rowe, who had a falling out, obviously, at Marseille with Adrien Rabiot and was basically cast aside by De Zerbi. And, Bologna were the team to pick him up for 17 million. He's an England, U21 international. I'm sure Harvey Elliott, his pals with him. I'm sure Morgan Rodgers might know of him. There will be a familiar face perhaps in the Bologna lineup, although he didn't start and didn't get on the pitch against Genoa in the last game. But that might just be precautionary because I think he's a good player. And he did look dangerous when we played Marseille in that, feisty friendly as well. So he looks like a good player. Played for Norwich, obviously, previously to that. And he's now currently in Serie A, and I think he's a good player, but he's going to be a danger player for them. They've strengthened in defence. They've had to. They've spent 11 million on a defender called Vitek from Sparta Prague, a Czech Republic defender, Martin Vitek. They've bought in a defender from West Brom, Torbjørn Hegem. Not sure if he's any relation to Vegard Hegem, formerly of Liverpool, 7.5 from West Brom. They've brought in another defender called Zorfia, 7.5 million from Cagliari, and then Casale, who's a midfield player from Lazio. And they picked up a couple of freebies as well, veteran players as well. Bernardeschi from Toronto, who was released by them. They've got him on a free, experienced 31-year-old playmaker. And Shiro Immobile, who's going to be missing from this game, out with a hamstring injury, but picked him up on a free as well from Besiktas as well. So, and then their outgoings, I mentioned Dan Ndoye there to Nottingham Forest, 42 million. Having only picked him up from Basel a couple of years ago for, I think it was 12 million. So 12 million, turning that to a 42 million pound, not profit, but 30 million pound profit in the space of 2 years. That's what they do. And then Bukimi, their centre back as well, has joined Napoli for 31 million, and they only picked him up a couple of years ago for like 10 million from AZ Alkmaar. So they do buy these players and flip them. And recent outgoings for them have included like Calafiori to Arsenal, 45 million, having bought him the previous season for 24 million from Basel. So doubling the money basically almost on Calafiori. Joshua Zirkzee, who's been a flop at Man United, you must say, 42 million they got for him. Again, he was bought a season ago from Bayern Munich, I think for like 12, 13 million or something. So again, they flipped these quite well. And Arnautovic, the veteran, sold to Inter for 10 million the year before last. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting sort of game to see, how Bologna tackle this. They're normally playing in a 4-3-3 formation. Fuller is the captain, who's ex-Nottingham Forest, Swiss international, plays in midfield for them. And they'll have people like Castro up front, who's a danger man for them. He's got a couple of goals already this season. Orsolini has a couple of goals this season. He got 17 last season. And Ndoye got about 10 last season, I believe it was. Castro got 10 last season as well. So, it's going to be dangerous. Jonathan Rowe is going to be a good addition for them. And it's going to be a different sort of Bologna team. They've still got the likes of Lucchini at the back, who was heavily linked with Sunderland in the summer, but that move didn't happen, so he stayed. Lewis Ferguson, who didn't feature in the games against us last season, Scottish international. So you're going to have John McGinn and Lewis Ferguson, Scotland on Scotland there in midfield. That's going to be a feisty encounter as well. And Lewis Ferguson is the son of Derek Ferguson, nephew of Barry Ferguson, if you guys remember sort of the Rangers connection there. So, he's going to have some, he's going to be feisty in midfield. It's going to be an interesting battle, him and John McGinn. I'm sure they're going to be squaring up there and seeing who gets the best out of that one. But, we've had two players that have played for Aston Villa and Bologna. One is currently on our books, but out on loan at West Brom, is Samuel Illing Jr. And the other one is that legendary defender, Angel Crespo, from I don't know when it was. Was it Martin and Hill days? Remy Gard days, perhaps? Remy Gard, probably, that rings a bell. But yeah, Crespo played for Bologna. They each played sort of 17, 18 games for them. Illing Jr. getting 2 goals, Crespo getting 1 goal. But yeah, those are the two players that have played for both sides, basically, Illing Jr. and Jose Angel Crespo. So looking at Aston Villa, it needs to be a performance. I've titled this, "We need to find our identity," which is Unai's sort of quote in his, post-match interviews following the Sunderland game. And we very much need to. We need to get back to how Villa was, the passing game, the pressing, the energy, the intensity. We need to play with pace. This is a bit more quickness. He's obviously slated Harvey Elliott for playing the ball too quickly at times, but I think we need that. Maybe look at changing the lineup slightly. I think we need to be on the front foot here. We can't go into this game worrying about Bologna and what they're going to do. We need to give them something to worry about. So I want to see us going attacking. I want to see the predicted lineup for me is Emi Martinez in goal, Matty Cash at right back. Left back, I want to see Ian Martson in from the start. I think Luca Digne's time is to sit on the bench for a while now. Centre back wise, obviously Conser will play right centre back. And then the left centre back, I'm still going to go with Mings. But Pau Torres is pushing. And if Pau Torres did play, it wouldn't upset me too much. But I just think Mings might be the one for this one. CDMs, I'm going to go with the 2 CDMs. It looks like John McGinn and Kamara again will be paired up together. I'm not sure what Tielemans and Onana are saying in terms of their injury-wise. Bogard is obviously there as well, but for me, Bogard just to come out for this one, we don't need him to start with. And then in front of that, I want to see us go really expansive and expressive. I want to give some players a chance who, have ability and just let them play. Bit of freedom. Don't shackle them down to, tactics and things like that. Don't restrict them. Let their individual talents come out. We can work our way 75% of the way up the pitch. So from defense, from Emi Martinez, all the way up to, edge of the box, that should be all tactics and formation and pre-rehearsed. When you get to the edge of the box, I want to see a bit of individual skill. I want to see some step overs. I want to see us being confident, beating our man, and just go unscripted. Go unscripted, get shots off from the edge of the box. So my front three is Jadon Sancho on the left. So with Martson there behind him. Morgan Rogers, because I don't want to see Buendia or Gassond starting, or Daniel Marlon starting either. So we've got Sancho, Rogers in the 10, and Harvey Elliott from the right, but playing that sort of, tucked in position, and Matty Cash bombing on the overlap, getting forward and pinging one into the top corner from 25 yards again. Ollie Watkins is the only option we have up front. This is the problem. Daniel Marlon is not an out-and-out striker. Maybe bring on Gassond up front if Watkins is not doing the business after an hour. If we're having a similar Ollie Watkins to what we've seen in recent weeks, then bring him off after an hour, give Gassond half an hour up front. If it's not working with Sancho on the wing, put Daniel Marlon out there, maybe move Harvey Elliott. There are options here. Emi Buendia could come on for the last 15 minutes and give a bit of energy, but I don't want to see him starting. If we are winning the game and it's a tight game, then maybe we can bring on a Lamar Bogard and play three across midfield. But there needs to be fluidity within the team formation, and you need to give those front three license to play. Yes, they need to work hard off the ball for sure. If we lose it, they need to be getting their asses back and winning that ball. Intensity. If they're not putting it in, you put their number up and you bring them off. It's as simple as that. So, we need to start this European campaign on a good feeling, a good win, and take this confidence, hopefully a win here, into the Fulham game on Sunday as well. We've got back-to-back games at Villa Park. In fact, we've got a triple header at Villa Park. So Bologna, Fulham, and then Burnley. So let's try to get 3 wins. Why not? But we need to start it here against Bologna on Thursday. My score prediction for the game, I am going to go Villa to win. It's a new competition. It might just be the difference maker for Villa. I'm actually going to go with Aston Villa. I don't know why I'm saying this or how I'm predicting this, but I'm going 3-1 Aston Villa. I think something's going to click, whether it's going to be a change of opponent, change of intensity. But I just think if we go with that, especially with that lineup to begin with, if I see Buendia in the lineup, if I see Gassond in the lineup, Marlon in the lineup, then no, not for me. But if we can go strong, those players have ability that I've just talked about. And I think we can do this. I think we can get at them. We need to be wary from set pieces because they've got some dangerous defenders. But, as long as we can contain Jonathan Rowe or Cellini and Castro, those are the threats. The 3 in midfield that they have are very hard-working midfield players. They've got good legs. So we need to make sure that we're sort of matching them up for the energy and intensity. And Rowe is quite a good dribbler of the ball, and he will be dangerous. So we need to watch out for him if he's on the pitch, of course. So, guys, that's my match preview for the game. Like, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on Bologna. What are your score predictions? What do you want to see in the starting lineup for this game? And, I'll be back at you with an instant match reaction on Thursday night. Hopefully, we're celebrating 3 points in the Europa League and can take that good vibes to Villa Park on Sunday against Fulham. Anyway, have a good day. Bye for now.